What's up, guys? It is Special Game 75 here today. Today we're playing Sakura Succubus 9 Part 3. Here we go. I think this must be true happiness. I finally ascended. I've reached enlightenment. There really is nothing better in this world than food. Now, don't get fat now, okay? Spending time in the palace really is exhausting. Alice exhales, sitting cross-legged on the bed. We finished with dinner at an hour significantly later than we would usually eat, and now Elise has retreated to her bedroom. I decided to join Elise, as did Hifumi. Cosmos, Ayus, Stefani, and Elizabeth meanwhile went off to do their own things. I'm not sure where they are or what they're doing, but I imagine they're fine. Elise is in a better mood than she was last night, presumably because this night's dinner was significantly better than last. She didn't spill any soup over her lap, which is a marked improvement over what went down yesterday. She does look a little tired, however. Her head is hanging and even her wings seem to be dropping from exhaustion. That probably is my fault. I did push dinner back for everybody, and though I didn't do it deliberately, I can't help but feel guilty. Elise sighs, or is it that really a yawn? It's gotten so late that I think I might have eaten a bit too much. If I feel so sluggish now. You poor thing. Hifumi smiles in that gentle motherly manner of hers. You did have quite the long flight a few days prior to. It's natural that you would be tired given the circumstances. Hifumi doesn't. I mentioned that she was on that long flight with us. But unlike Elise, who stayed awake for most of our trip, too anxious to sleep, Hifumi has spent most of the flight dozing. Maybe that's why she's adjusted to the change in time zone so well. Or maybe it comes with practice. I know as a second season actress, Hifumi has traveled all across the world to do on local shooting. A little drawn to Astoria should be nothing for her. Do you want to rest your weary head? It might make you feel better. Here. Hifumi takes a seat upon the bed and pats her head. Make yourself at home. Elise eyes Hifumi shyly, her face flushed. That's very kind of you, but do you mind? I wouldn't want your legs going numb. It is quite alright. I am a professional Karuta player. Remember, I am accustomed to kneeling for long hours during my matches. I am quite confident there is nobody better at being a lap pillow than myself. You can attest to my abilities. Can you, Hiroki? Oh yeah, your lap is plenty cozy. I just hope one day I get to sleep on thighs like this. Man, one day. Anyways, it's so cozy in fact that the last time Hifumi let me cuddle up to her like this, I got a little too relaxed. One thing led to another, and then... You should do it, Elise. Don't let this opportunity pass by. Hifumi's thighs are heavenly. Heavenly? That does sound tempting. I can't help but worry it might be improper to use Lady Yui's own cousin as a pillow. But if you really don't mind, then Elise inhales, perhaps, in an attempt to steal herself. Then she shuffles forward. So lucky. She lays down, resting her cheek upon Hifumi's thighs, then looks up at Hifumi anxiously. Is this alright? It's just fine, dear. I'm glad in fact that you took me up on my offer. It is rather gratifying to know that you trust me so much. Well, of course I do. I can't help but trust you. Elise yawns, tears beginning to bead in her eyes. You're really friendly, and you seem pretty responsible too. You're so mature, and you're patient too. You can even put up with my whining. You're... Another yawn. Kind of amazing, actually. But I guess it's no wonder. You are related to Lady Yui after all. Indeed I am. I am rather fond of my darling younger cousin, even if she did used to be somewhat pushy. But I think she has worked through the worst of her envious tendencies. And so it would seem to have you. Do you think so? Hifumi nods, still running her fingers through Elise's strewed tresses. Marina told me a little about what you put Hiroki and the others through not so long ago, I thought that your means of catching Hiroki's attention seemed rather aggressive. But now I've had a chance to properly speak to you, I can see that you are quite sweet. You're a lovely young lady. It has been a pleasure to spend more time with you. I don't know about that, but thanks, I guess. Softly, Elise laughs. It's kind of crazy, actually, that I've been able to spend time with an amazing person like you, and that I've been staying in a palace. This whole experience has been a lot to come to terms with. It's kind of overwhelming, but I mean that in the best possible way. It's insane, but Elise smiles softly, her eyes half lidded. I was a little nervous at first, but you were right, Hiroki. Steffi really is nice. She's been so sweet to me even though I'm a loser. It's almost enough to make me wonder whether I really am a loser after all. Elise, Hifumi looks down at Elise, who's made herself rather at home upon her lap. Hifumi's expression, which is always gentle, softens even further still. She runs her fingers through Elise's long silvery tresses and smiles serenely. Then in a voice sweeter than honey, she says, "You aren't a loser. A loser is a person who gives up at the first sign of the adversity, who fails and cannot find the inner strength to pick themselves back up again. I would consider such a person rather tragic. You are not like that, however. You might have run into many misfortunes during your life, and perhaps your way of overcoming them wasn't always the best. But no matter what happens, you keep picking yourself back up. You are working very, very hard. You are far from being a loser." Hifumi's right. I agree. I know staying here must be overwhelming for you, especially given your past with Stefania, but I can tell you're trying to do your best to make amends. You're not run away from what you did. You aren't trying to hide. You've been taking responsibility and trying to better yourself. And I think that's admirable. Well, I'm not so sure about that. A soft blush captures Elise's face and softly she laughs. I don't think there's anything all that amazing about me, really. In fact, it's the exact opposite. I think I'm the least amazing succubus out there. I'm pretty awkward and I'm not confident and I'm clumsy. But when everybody's being so kind to me, I don't know. It makes me feel like I can make something out of myself. What's that feeling called again? Optimism, maybe? Elise falls silent for a few moments, perhaps to digest this remark. Her brows furrows, then her head still cradles on Hifumi's lap. She nods. That's right, I guess I feel optimistic. I'm not used to feeling positive about, well, anything really, especially not myself. I never thought that I'd be able to change, but I think I'm becoming a better person little by little. Elise yawns. Need to keep trying. I'll hang in there. Another yawn. So please keep rooting for me. I'm going to do my very best. As no one's ever was. Elise's voice trails off. Then her eyelashes flutter close. Her breathing evens out and then... Yeah, she's sleeping now. She falls fast asleep. Fumi giggles softly, still running her fingers through Elise's strewing tresses. Her fingertips grazes Elise's scalp, and as if she's stroking a slumbering cat, and again it's like a slumbering cat. Elise mews. How very sweet. Don't you think she's adorable, Hiroki? I guess she is, yeah. When she's not having one of her panic attacks, that is. I quite concur. Elise is a lovely girl. I just wish she would have a bit more confidence in herself. If only she knew how to relax, then I think she would be perfect. Though I suppose perfection is a difficult thing to strive for. Not many of us can achieve it, myself included. At the end of the day, we all have flaws, no matter how we try to mask them. I suppose it speaks a good deal to your character, Hiroki, that you can continue to love Elise and the rest of us too, despite our defects. Well, it is like you said, nobody's perfect. I know I'm definitely not. It's not possible. So it'd be pretty critical of me if I started demanding perfection from my partners too. Aptly put as always. I suppose all we could do is try and get along with one another, and as best we can despite our numerous faults and flaws. A smiling Hifumi continues to run her fingers through Alice's tresses, prompting a series of breathy signs from our resident self-conscious Succubus. Alice doesn't look anxious when she's sleeping. For once, all of the worry has faded from her face. Her lips no longer curve downwards in their customary frown. Watching her doze is quite comforting, actually, but I can't exactly stand here watching her sleep forever. Hifumi seems to share this thought because she slides Elise off her lap very gently, taking care not to awake her. Then she stands her Succubus attire melting away to reveal her kimono. She's a nice girl, even if you met her under less than ideal circumstances. Given I am quite a bit older than her, I cannot help but worry about her. Is that really unique to Elise? I thought you were worried about everybody, Hifumi. Well, you aren't wrong there. Fussing about other people is my nature, as much as Ayu might wish that it wasn't. She's always calling me an interfering busybody, though I suppose that's better than being called a shrill nag or an old harpy like she sometimes calls Marina. I guess you get off pretty lucky comparatively speaking. I know, I feel very blessed. You are right, though I do worry about everybody. It's in my nature. But I worry about Elise more than the others. She's a new addition to our entourage. I think she's still struggling to find her footing. She's unsure of herself and she's anxious. She doesn't quite fit in yet. Or no, she doesn't believe that she fits in. One only needs to look at her to see that staying in the palace has been causing her a lot of stress. That is why I decided to check in on her to see whether she was alright. I think you did a good job. She looks a lot more relaxed than she was. Oh, I do hope so. I am very glad if my presence can console others. I do my best to make people feel at ease. But I have been feeling somewhat worried myself. As a matter of fact, you have? I didn't know about that. Hifumi's so good at projecting this aura of tranquility, it can be hard to tell how she's really feeling. Yes, indeed. I have been awfully busy since I arrived in Astoria. I have been with Stefani around the clock. Teach her now to play Karuta, which is not a bad thing. You understand? I found it an enjoyable, enriching experience. I rather enjoy seeing how Stefani's grasping on the game has improved. And if I am being wholly honest, I think part of me enjoys being called teacher. And it is rather nice having such a dutiful pupil who's so very eager to learn. But staying inside the palace can be a bit stifling. I rather wish I could join you on your walk earlier today. As a matter of fact, but I was otherwise occupied. I tried to act calm and level-headed for the sake of my Succubus sisters, but I confess, even I need to take breaks every once in a while. Having people rely on me incessantly can be wearing. Which is to say, Hifumi smiles at me. It's a gentle understatement sort of smile, one which reminds me of a perfectly blooming camellia. Would you mind going for a stroll with me in the palace gardens, Hiroki? I know that it is late at night and it is rather chilly, but I think the fresh air might do me some good. For just a brief while, I would like a chance to clear my head, and I would very much like to do so with you. Oh yeah. The moon really is beautiful tonight. Do you not agree? Yeah, it sure is something alright. The moon does look rather pretty, as Hifumi stated. It's an almost perfect sphere, just like a crystal ball. It's pretty cold outdoors, so much so I had to bundle up in a jacket before stepping out. But the sky is relatively devoid of clouds. The dark navy sky overhead is full of coldly twinkling stars, which all shimmer brightly about the moon. The moon is the real star of this celestial show. However, its ghostly light brushes the trees in the royal palace garden, dyeing them a faintly silvery sheen. It's so very late and it's so very dark. I feel like I'm wandering through a dream myself, though most of my dreams aren't quite this chilly. Still, picture skew. Though the garden might be, that the attention is captured not by the foliage but by Hifumi. I've always thought that Hifumi was attractive, but now she looks even more so. She's so good looking, in fact it's faintly astounding. Her long dark hair seems to melt into the darkness which surrounds it, and her eyes glow. I'm reminded of the very first time I met Hifumi in the flesh. I mean, I've seen Hifumi dozens, maybe hundreds of times on the big screen before our paths crossed. I never imagined back then that I'd one day get the chance to meet the Yamamoto Hifumi in the flesh, though I was way out of her league. And to be honest, I think I still am. Bro, we're still here with her for all these sessions. Like, it's the 9th game so far. It's hard for me to countenance that I'm walking through the dark with such an incredible woman. I am sure this isn't a dream. I feel obliged to pinch the inside of my arm to see whether this might jolt me awake. But my reality doesn't waver, but I guess this is my world now. I'm with Hifumi, both of us bathe beneath the moonlight, and for whatever reason, she really does seem to love me. How in the world did this happen? Oh, Hiroki, look! Hifumi's gentle voice draws me from my musings. I glance upwards, the hem of my shirt catching the breeze, and look at Hifumi. She's standing by a bush prepped with white ghostly flowers, their petals even lighter than the moon overhead. I'm not sure what these flowers mean I'm not much of a botanist, so my pool of references is limited, but I've never seen anything quite like these before. They look like lilies, but the shape isn't quite right. They're growing in a bush, but not in a flower bed, but I don't think they're white roses either. How mysterious. Maybe they're a native species to Astoria? That would explain why I've never seen them before. That and the fact that I spend most of my waking hours in my apartment or in the office. You don't really get a chance to drink in the beauties of the natural world when you live in Tokyo and you have to commute over an hour to and from work every morning. Don't you think these flowers are lovely? I think they would make for a charming addition to a wedding banquet, or maybe even a wedding dress. Fumi's eyes find mine. Knowingly she smiles. I'm well aware of what she's hinting towards. She isn't being exactly subtle, but all of a sudden I feel abashed. There's no way a woman like Hifumi would be discussing marriage with me. This shouldn't be happening. This shouldn't be possible, but, well, I already tried to pinch the inside of my arm, but that didn't wake me up. I should just accept at this point that this is really happening. Hifumi probably wants me to pop the question. It's the perfect location for it. It's quite secluded and very pretty to boot, but shouldn't Ayu have first dibs? What? Ayu have first dibs, but this is all way too sudden. Feels a bit too sudden. I'm not too young to get married, but I'm definitely too broke, speaking of which. I'm not sure if I'd be able to afford that. You're a famous actress, so you deserve the most lavish ceremony available. My funds are pretty limited though. I think it'd be a struggle to afford a banquet, let alone a dress. Or a venue. Yes, I had imagined as much. I know that your lifestyle is rather humble, but that is where I would come in. I myself am not hurting for money. I would have no qualms at all with my paying for some or all of the wedding. You are misunderstanding me, however, my dear Hiroki. I am? Hifumi nods. Might be a woman of some renown, but I do not desire a fancy wedding. I have no particular interest in pomp, or neither do I want to put on a show. I don't want my wedding to be a spectacle. I would far rather it be a quiet, intimate affair, just me, my husband, and a few of our friends. I would wear a white dress, of course. I adore the kimonos, but white wedding dress are simply too darling, and my husband, well, what do you think he would wear, Hiroki? Do you have any ideas? I don't. I open and close my mouth like a snappy turtle, feeling more than a little out of my element when... Oh my! I'm interrupted by a gasp from Hifumi. She's looking away from me. Finally, I feel like I can breathe. Her head upturned. Her long dark hair flutters behind her in a breeze, as do the trailing sleeves of her kimono. I wonder what caught her attention. I follow Fumi's gaze, raising my head upwards, and... Ah! Now I see! Hifumi's gazing at the palace, the balcony to be more precise, which overlooks the garden. I recognize this balcony is near the Stephania's bedchamber. I know that this for a fact. I've been up there myself a couple of times. This was on the balcony that I had a moonlit conversation with Stephania a few months prior during my very first visit to Astoria. I couldn't sleep, so I decided to go for a walk. While I was meandering through the palace darkened hallways, I came across this balcony. Step outside for a bit of fresh air, just as I did with Hifumi earlier, and I chanced upon Stephania. She was wearing her nightgown and she was leaning against the stone balustrade of the balcony looking pensive. I had quite the heart-to-heart with Stephania back then. She confided in me about her feelings of loneliness and isolation. I told her that I would try to console her. She asked me if I would take her out on a date, and I suppose the rest is history. And as for why I'm reliving this not so distant memory, however, well, yo, that's because Stephania is standing on the balcony again, wearing the same gauzy nightgown that she was during the last Moonlit encounter. She has been having trouble sleeping again. I hope she isn't feeling melancholy. Stephania is a sweet girl, so she often feels stifled by her environment. She isn't some self-important princess who believes she's owed the whole world. She's a lot kinder than that. I don't know what prompted Stephania to take to the balcony at such an hour, though it's pretty hard to tell from afar. It's not like I can talk to her, not when I'm all the way down in the garden. The balcony is pretty high up, so I can't get a good look at Stephania's expression. I think she's seeing me and Hifumi though, because she's looking at us, and she starts to wave. That's kind of cute. Oh look, it would appear that we've been spotted. Let's say hello to her, shall we? Hifumi waves back to Stephania, moving her right hand and gracefully arc. The long sleeve in her kimono billows in the breeze, catching in the milky moonlight. Stephania's waving pretty enthusiastically, but Hifumi's being much more measured. Stephania might be a princess, but she's acting like an excitable kid. Hifumi, meanwhile, looks more like a royalty, which I guess she is. Hifumi was next in line to be queen, Succubus realm, but she abdicated. I guess that means Hifumi has blue blood in her veins just like Stephania. I wonder if that's why she and Stephania get along so well? Could be. Well, whatever. I found myself waving at Stephania too. She looks enthused by this because she waves even more vigorously, so much so I'm a little worried she might tumble over the ledge of the balcony in the excitement. Now that would be pretty dramatic. I don't want Stephania to get hurt, not over little old me, so I drop my arm. Then I look at Hifumi. Do you think she wants to talk to us? That seemed like quite a likely assumption, yes. When does Stephania ever not want to talk to you? She is rather smitten with you. Look at the way she is carrying on. She's acting like a love-struck schoolgirl. Do you really think so? But of course, she appeared rather more morose, but her eyes lit up when she saw you. Can you tell from this distance? I can't really see what face she's making. We Succubus have better eyesight than ordinary people but do, and we are adept at seeing in the dark too. But it is another one of our talents. Oh right, of course. I've been with my Succubus hero for over a year, but they still find new ways to surprise me. I was stunned when I discovered a Succubus can use magic to alter their appearance, open locked doors, and travel between a great distance, but now I'm discovering they also have night vision? What gives? Is there anything they can't do? Their list of suspiciously convenient powers keeps getting bigger by the second. Well, let's say they can't even swim in water, that's one. I don't think that would be possible, but if it was, then sheesh. You will simply have to take my word for it, Hiroki. Stephania looks enchanted by you, as per usual. It is quite sweet, really, the way that she looks at you. I don't doubt you. Why is she making that smug face? But you're here too. Don't you think she's excited to see you? I doubt she is displeased to see me. but she has spent all day with me, remember? We were playing Karuta together. I am sure that you are the one Stefania wants. Look, she's beckoning to you now. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh god. Stefania stopped waving to my relief. I was worried she really might topple forward. Now she's gesturing at me to join her. I might not be able to see her expression, but her gesturing is pretty unambiguous. Well, I guess that's my plan for tonight sorted. Do you want to come with me, Fumi? I'm interested to see what she has to say. If you would not mind, then I shall gracefully accept the invitation. I too would like to know what it is Stefania wants. If something is weighing on her mind, I might be able to comfort her. And even if nothing is weighing on her mind, I think it would be nice to speak to her regardless. Ifumi laughed really while cupping her cheek with one hand. Perhaps Ayu's right about me after all. In my old age, I fear I am becoming something more of a busybody after all. Well, let's see what she wants. Oh boy, Hiroki, Ifumi, you came. Finally greets myself and Hifumi with a bright, beaming smile. It's dark outdoors and the lights in her bedroom are dim, which lends her spacious chamber a sultry sort of feeling. Stefania herself, meanwhile, is attired in that white nightgown of hers, which she seems to favor so much, softly and silky. Her blonde hair tumbles about her slender shoulders, and her green eyes look very gentle. She smiles shyly, then says, "It is very good to see you both of you tonight, but I do hope I was not interrupting anything. If so, I must apologize." "Oh, it's quite alright. Hiroki and I were just going for a walk to get some fresh air. We were not discussing anything particularly profound. You have nothing at all to worry about. In fact, I am rather glad you called out to both of us." "You are? Naturally, I have no qualms with spending more time with you, dear Stefania, and I am sure Hiroki feels the same way. I do not think that the pair of you have had much chance to spend any time together during Hiroki's stay here. Would I be correct in that assessment?" "Well, yes, you aren't wrong. I have been busy learning Karuta from you, which I hasten to let you know I appreciate. I have rather enjoyed our lessons. I really cannot thank you enough for aiding me, teacher, especially when I know how very busy you are." "That is quite alright. I am glad you have been finding our sessions instructive. I consider myself rather fortunate too, that you are such a hard-working student. Coaching you has been an invaluable experience." "Oh, I'm so glad. I have been worried that I have been making too many demands on you." "And I worry that I've been a poor host to you too, Hiroki. I hope I have not made you feel unwelcome here. I don't think you could ever even have if you've tried. You came to collect me from the airport and you've been spoiling me with lavish food every single day. I feel quite blessed." "Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. Though anybody with my wealth could arrange for such things, preparing such a lavish dinner is quite a trivial matter for me. Not that I mean to flaunt my wealth, of course. I mean, I only to say poorly, that is, that I fear I have let my love for Karuta consume all of my waking hours. I fear I have been a burden upon you, teacher. And I also worry that I have been neglecting you, Hiroki. I've been worried about my conduct to such a degree I could not sleep a wink tonight." Is that why you're still awake?" Stefania nods. "I have been looking forward to seeing the both of you again for such a long time, but now that you are here, I fear I am not utilizing my time at all correctly. I do not wish to burden you, teacher, and I do not wish to ignore you either, Hiroki. It's quite the conundrum. I talked matters through with Lizzie, and she said I was thinking too much. I'd be inclined to agree with Elizabeth there. She's pretty sensible when she's not making Ayu cosplay as a maid, that is. But all the same, are you certain I have made either of you uncomfortable?" "Oh, Stefania." A small smile captures Hifumi's lips, and taking a small step forward, she takes Stefania's hand in her own. Squeezing them, Hifumi says, "You really are a good girl, but I fear you might be a bit too good for your own. Well, good. I beg your pardon? What do you mean, teacher?" "I mean, you worry about other people more than you ought. I would hesitate to use her as an example, but maybe you should take a leaf out of Ayu's book. Now she's truly a headstrong, confident individual who does not care what others think of her, for the most part at least." I mean, Ayu's more sensitive than she looks. Indeed she is. Despite the way she carries herself, she is quite a sweet girl, really. But she knows how to mask her anxieties, and she knows how to prioritize. You mean while worried about everybody else too much? Caring for others is an admirable trait, but you need to work yourself up too. Try to take solace in the thought of that Booth. Both of Hiroki and myself appreciate you immensely. Do you really? Yes, indeed. I'm being sincere. If Hifumi's smile takes on a more devious edge, but perhaps it will take more than a dialogue to persuade you of this fact. What do you think, Hiroki? Should I endeavor to impress the true nature of my feelings upon dear Stephania here in the matter of so upfront not even she can hope to refute them? Huh? Stephania looks between myself and Hifumi. Her expression is politely perplexed. What does that mean? I think I have a pretty good guess. I am certain that you do. I knew that we were on the same wavelength. Stephania might be a touch too innocent to understand my insinuations, but that's alright. If you can consent to letting me care for you, then I shall ensure you will not be overly innocent by the time this night ends. Oh boy. After my late night rendezvous with Stephania, my days in Astoria passed in something of a blur. I don't get to spend very much time with Ayu since she's occupied with her preparations for upcoming concert with Shizuru. Hifumi, meanwhile, is spending most of her time going through the finer points of Karuta with Stephania. Stephania, for what I've gathered, is an appointed pupil who's eager to learn. Her technique has come on in leaps and bounds, and she's become much faster at recognizing the cards that are being read out. I watch a few of Stephania and Hifumi's practice matches while Stephania still struggles to be to best Hifumi. The gulf in points that once separated them is becoming smaller. I can see too that Stephania looks more determined while she plays, her eyes narrowed. Her movements are swift and sharp, just like a striking snake. I had never really thought of Karuta as an exciting sport before, but in my opinion of it might be beginning to shift after watching Stephania and Hifumi. There's something enticing and aggressive about their movements, but there's an elegance to it at the same time. The way she sleeves her Hifumi kimono flutters as she shifts, especially captivating. It doesn't hurt that the point reader for these games, Elizabeth, has such a rhythmic voice. Their bouts are certainly something to behold. I almost feel like a fool for writing Karuta off for so long. Maybe I should have joined the Karuta Club back in high school when you would ask me. Was I missing out? Ayu Hifumi times as well and truly vouch for her, but Elise Ikazu are something at loose end. Elise wraps up her photo shoot with Sayuri, then spends the rest of her time with Cosmos, going shopping, seeing the sights and samplings of all of the delicious food Rosenberg has to offer. I accompany the two of them fairly often, where I act as their impromptu cameraman. I wander Rosenberg streets, whether I'll bump into Chizuru again, but ever since our meeting, I have not seen any sign of her. I would say it's like she disappeared into thin air, but that might be a bit melodramatic. Rosenberg isn't the huggiest capital city out there. In fact, I think it's slightly smaller than Bern, but it's big enough that it seems unlikely I'll run into the same person twice. For all I know, it might not even be here anymore. She could have returned to Japan already. Did she say she was on vacation? It's a little sad to think she might have gone after everything we did together. I thought we'd go on pretty well, if I do say so myself, but I guess it's not the end of the world. Cosmo's company is certainly diverting. And at least as though she isn't exactly a bundle of laughs, can be fun to talk to. When she isn't putting herself down all the time, that is. Days blend together, and before I know it, as a full week has gone by. There's only 3 days left until Ayu's concert now, and perhaps that's why Ayu's in an unusual display of vulnerability decides to pay me a visit. I was lying on my bed watching the cute cat videos on my phone when a rapping of Knuckles at the door makes me start. I call to my visitor, bidding them entry. It's alright, you can come in, I'm decent. And I'm greeted to my surprise by everybody's favorite orange-haired idol. Ayu steps into my room, looking unusually unsure of herself. She glances about my bedroom, drinking in its opulence, then faces me. I've since sat myself up on the bed. At this point, though, I doubt I look particularly put together. I've not yet changed to my pajamas, but my hair is a little rumpled from lying down so long, as are my clothes. Set my phone to one side. My bro furrows and says, "Is something wrong?" I ask only because Ayu looks so unusually unsure of herself, her head bowed and her fingers curled at her front. This question, however, seems to ignite some of Ayu's usual aggression because she scowls. Why do you always ask that, Hiroki? Do I really look that pathetic? Yes, we can do this. Oh my gosh, yo. Should we press her buttons? Like, I'm just thinking about this. Like, yo, should we press this shit? Like, I'm thinking about it, alright? I love to think about this press her buttons, but you know what? You mostly look sad. You know, let's just see a happy side at least. Well, I guess you're right there. There we go. I really can't hide anything from you, can I? Nope, it's the power of love, you see. I like you so much, I can always tell when something's bothering you. Ew, that's so corny. What? Man. Come on, like, how is that even corny? Like, come on. Ayu pulls a face, but I think she appreciates my sentiments. If she didn't, she wouldn't be blushing. That's pretty cute. I know it's corny, but I don't mind being corny for your sake. I like you a lot, so I've got to bring my A game. Really though, it's rare for you to visit me like this. And when you do, I append inside my head. It's usually because you want something from me. So I figured there must be a reason behind it. Haven't you been feeling too good? Oh boy. Ayu looks away. She pouts. Then her arms folded. She mutters, "I'm fine." Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Why do you want me to repeat myself? The answer isn't going to change. You know, no matter how many times you ask. God damn. I really am fine. Right, so there's nothing wrong. Nothing at all. You're as fit as a fiddle? I'm fitter than a fiddle. Yo. Oh my goodness, yo, this dude is hilarious. Though I do wonder where that saying comes from. Same here. Are fiddles supposed to be fit? I guess so. They say it wouldn't make much sense otherwise. Not that it makes much sense anyway. Still, I guess that's just how people are. They often do the things that don't make sense. I guess I'm not immune to that either. Ayu mumbles that this is the last remark under her breath, in a soft whisper, but I still catch it. She isn't subtle as she might think she is, or maybe that's the point. Despite her protest that she's just fine, really, I know Ayu well enough to know that she wouldn't have bothered coming to see me if something wasn't on her mind. I think she must be in a rut. I'm certain that at this point, it's about the concert. Maybe she's feeling nervous. I'll like to ask Ayu a few questions, but I don't want to press her on this issue that will only make her clam up more. I know from past experience it's better to play the waiting game when it comes to Ayu. Eventually the sound of silence gets to her and she winds up cracking under the pressure. and inevitably, she's always spills the beans about her feelings so soon enough. Hey Hiroki, and just as I expected, it looks like Ayu's finally beginning to muster up her courage. She inhales, her chesting rising beneath her pale pink sweater. Then in a quiet voice she says, I was just thinking, we've not been spending much time together lately, have we? Huh? Well, color me surprised. I didn't think she'd come all the way to my room to discuss that. I was sure she was going to open with some words about her upcoming concerts and her feelings for Chizuru, but I guess not. This whole time has been thinking about me instead. If so, that's kinda cute. I guess you're right about that. Yeah, we've not had much of a chance to speak, but I'd expect that as much before we came here. I mean, you are pretty busy. Yes, that is true. I have been rather occupied, but that's nothing new. I'm always busy, and be it with recording new songs, or appearing on talk shows, or holding my photography, or appearing in adverts, there's never a dull moment. Usually I like being so fully booked. It's nice feeling like I'm working towards a goal, but lately, well, Ayu toys with a strand of her hair, expressions inscrutable. It does wear on me from the time to time, especially tonight. Have you been feeling stress? A bit. I mean, I'm only human, or well, I'm actually Succubus, but you know what I mean. I think anybody will be stressed given my workload. There's a lot I have to do, and a lot of expectation right on my shoulders. You mean the concert? Ayu nods. This concert is being built as a joint venture between myself and Chizuru, but I'm the main star. I'm younger than Chizuru, and I have a bigger fan base. I think most people will turn out to watch me, or at least that's what I'm hoping. I want to give my fans a good show, but this is all my new territory. I've never done a whole concert in tandem with somebody else, even if they are a bit apart. The director said Chizuru shouldn't stand out too much, but I'm still worried. What if she steals the spotlight from me? It would be humiliating having my thunder stolen by a has-been like her. It was easy for me to mock Chizuru before I'd seen her perform, but we've been practicing together for long enough that I have a pretty good handle on her abilities. She might be older than I am, and her movements aren't as brisk, but her voice, it really carries. Even I can't help but get goosebumps when I hear her sing. And it doesn't hurt that she's still irritatingly pretty. And I know the makeup will be doing a lot of hard work, but still, Ayu grits her teeth together. It looks like she's starting to work herself up into another one of her angry states. But the second trickle by, and Ayu doesn't say anything else. She's cut her ranting short. So for Ayu, this could be rather concerning. I knew something was wrong with Ayu the moment she entered my room, but this clinches it. Something's up for sure. Ayu isn't acting at all like her usual self. She's been much too reasonable. I told myself I'd blow Chizuru out of the water. I figured I'd be about able to outshine her with ease, but I can tell that was wishful thinking. Chizuru wasn't a top idol for so long for nothing. She's exceedingly talented. Maddeningly so. I think I might be a little better than her because I've been practicing more regularly, but there's not a lot in it. She's very impressive, and she's very enthusiastic too. She makes everything look effortlessly, and she does it with an unwavering smile. She's nice, she's polite, and everybody on the production team loves her. Meanwhile, everybody thinks I'm grumpy and overbearing. I've heard the production team whisper about me behind my back, though they think I haven't. They said I was a diva. I don't think they like me very much. Compared to Chizuru, it feels like I'm wanting in every single aspect. She's much more personable. Even I can't help but like her, and she's supposed to be my rival. And I want to upstage her, but I don't know if I can, no matter how hard I work. What if it isn't just the production team that I wind up like Chizuru more than they like me? What do my fans prefer too? I don't know what I'll do then. Ayu, I frown. I know Ayu doesn't like when anybody looks down on her, or when she perceives that anybody's looking down on her for that matter. She has a lot of pride, so much so it might just be her undoing. Ayu acts cold, and this isn't fairly often. It's rare for her to open up to me like this, but the fact she has much mean that all this has been weighing on her more than she's been letting on. I don't want to let my sympathy become too apparent so as not to annoy her, but I can hardly stand back and say nothing. I bicker with Ayu the most out of all the members of my Succubus harem, but she's no less dear to me than Kazuki or Hifumi. Even if they are more agreeable, I care about Ayu a lot, so I find myself compelled to take action. I don't know which one seems more reasonable to do right now at this point. Hold hands? Pat her on the head? Well, I mean... I don't know, let's hold hands. I step forward and animated with nothing save the desire to reassure Ayu. Oh wow, this is a good perspective. Then I take her hands in mine. Hiroki, what are you doing? What do you think? Her response to Ayu's query with a small smile, squeezing her hand between my own as I do. I'm trying to cheer you up, you dummy. If my hands weren't holding Ayu's, I think I'd have a company that line with flick to the forehead. That or a gentle tug to one of her long pigtails, since my hands are otherwise occupied. However, I can't do that. Maybe that's for the best though. I'm not sure if Ayu would appreciate being poked and prodded like that, not even if meant as an affectionate gesture. It can be hard to gauge Ayu's feelings sometimes, which is funny since she's always so open about her mood swings, but... Ayu pouts and glances pointing at the wall. Her face looks red, but she doesn't try to disentangle her hands from mine. Neither does she push me away. That has to count for something, right? Is that supposed to be cheering me up? That's the general idea, yeah. Isn't it working? Not really. I mean, you called me a dummy, only cause you act like one. You act so cool and confident, but you started to doubt yourself. Why is that? You've been a top idol for long enough that you ought to know we're one of the best. It doesn't matter how talented Shizuru might be, there's no way she'll be able to upstage you. You won't let her upstage you. I know what you're like, and you're too selfish to let any other woman shine when you're around. I'm sure you'll do incredibly. There's no doubt in my mind. You don't have to worry. You've already won this by virtue of being, well, you. Hiroki. Ayu's face, which was already flushed, turns even redder. Her blushing cheeks are clashing pretty wildly with her orange hair, but I don't think Ayu's noticed. I guess color coordinating her blush with her hair and her outfit is a challenge too steep, even for a famous idol like Ayu. You're being kind of forceful about this, you know. I really should punish you for insulting me. I should kick you or, I don't know, calling you a whore maybe? You deserve it after calling me an idiot. Well, I can't deny that. I know I'm taking a lot of liberties laying my unworthy hands all over an esteemed idol like yourself. And if any of your fans could see me, they'd probably tear me limb from limb. You're not wrong about that. My fans are all very possessive. Sometimes I think they're more like jackanoles than people. How scary. I laugh softly, my fingers still entwined with Ayu's, our palms pressed flush. Is this just my imagination, or does Ayu's palms feel a little damped? She's not sweating, is she? Surely not. Such bodily functions are reserved for merry humans, puny, pathetic mortals like myself. Ayu, meanwhile, transcends such concepts. She's an idol, a perfect being in the eyes of her fans, at least who exists to be worshipped. She herself has said on numerous occasions that she does not sweat like ordinary people. She insists that her skin produces her perfume instead. I'm not so sure about the validity of that claim though. It seems a little hokey. Why am I talking like that? Ayu might be an idol, but she's not so different from me. She still has doubts. She has anxieties. She has fears. She just tries to tamp them down, hiding them away in a deep part of herself until nobody can perceive them. She wants to look strong, confident, and in control. But even idols falter from time to time. Ayu isn't perfect, not by a long shot, but your fans sound pretty intense, Ayu. But that's alright. I already knew that. I've been to your concerts before, and I've been heard the way they cheer for you. I knew what I was getting into when we started this relationship, and I think you're worth the potential ire of all of your fans. Even if they do want to find out about us, I don't mind being torn apart for your sake. If I could give you just a little bit of encouragement on those rare occasions when you need it, then I consider it your worthy sacrifice. You idiot! Ayu pouts. There's no way you really mean that. Who actually wants to be torn apart? I'm sure if that happened, you wouldn't be able to talk so big. You'd start to resent me. Ayu, please. If I was going to resent you, I would have done it already when you called me names or asked me to drink bleach. You said and done some pretty questionable stuff this last year, but I know you don't always mean that. You mean the things you say. You lash out when you feel anxious or insecure, and unfortunately for me, I often have to be in your firing line. You aren't always the easiest person to get on with, but I am still here. But I've not left you. That means I think worth standing by. You're worth supporting. If you've not been able to drive me away yet, then I doubt any of your fans can. I guess at this point, I'm just as much as of a hopeless fanatic as they are. That's news to me. I thought you didn't even like idol music very much. Aren't you always listening to boring acoustic indie stuff? Well, yeah, I prefer more low-key music, but I don't like you because of your music. I like you like I already said for you. Even though in your words I lash out when I'm insecure and I'm not the easiest person to get on with, even so, it's like the old saying goes, if I don't deserve you at your worst, then I don't think I deserve you at your best. And while your lows could give the Grand Canyons a run for its money, I grin. Your highs are kind of like the Himalayas, maybe. Ayu scowls. Hiroki, let me be real with you. I have no idea what you're babbling about. Why are you being so flowery anyway? It isn't like you. Aha! I guess you have a point there, but I meant what I said. I think you're amazing, Ayu. You're a very hard worker, you take a career seriously, you might insult your fans for behind their backs, but I know that you're on stage, you give it your all. You're always striving hard to improve your performance. You never ever been content to half-ass things, no matter how cynical you might be. And I think your fans can see that. They can tell how seriously you take this, so they take you seriously in turn. They don't love you solely because of your pretty face, or because you're singing. They love you for the person you are, the one who pushes herself to the brink over and over again so as not to let anybody down. I think you're wonderful, and I know your fans do too. Chizuru might be beloved, but you're just as adored. You don't need to worry about her stealing your thunder, and you don't need to worry about your future either. You won't be able to be an idol forever. But no matter what happens, you always have me. Hiroki. Ayu. I give Ayu slight the damp hands. Squeeze my eyes, boring her from behind the thick lenses of my glasses. I'm not going to leave you. I'm down too bad. I'm not even into idol music, but I'm still your #1 fan. And I'll never not support you, even if you tell me to lie on the bed of razors. Your grumpy attitude doesn't make me love you any less. In fact, I think it's kind of charming. Maybe because you're so cute. Uh-oh. What, Ayu flushes all the way to the roots of her hair. She's so flustered even the tip of her ears has started to turn red. I didn't know you liked me that much. Didn't you think it was possible? Maybe not. Not given my attitude. I know I've said a lot of awful things to you in the past, Hiroki, but like you said, I don't always mean it. I'm just kind of stressed and I don't know. Being an idol is more difficult than it looks, but maybe if you keep supporting me, I'll be able to keep on shining. I just need to do my best, right? That's right. Sounds so simple, doesn't it? When you say it like that. Well, it's easier said than done. I'm sure it is, but I have faith in you. You can do this. Hiroki? Aya leans in, standing on the tips of her toes. Her long eyelashes fall shut, her blush deepening. I think she means to press a kiss against my lips. And of her own volition, too. How bold when... That's right. Ayu, you should listen to Hiroki. You've got this in the bag. I believe in you. You're amazing, so there's nothing you can do. Yay, go Ayu. Go Ayu. Go Ayu? Huh? What the? Ayu and I both turn towards the doorway, our heads swirling in unison. Then once again, in unison, we stare. What? Dude. Hey there, you two. Were you having a tender moment? You look like you were getting pretty cozy. I'm pretty sorry if we interrupted anything. I don't want to come between the pair of you. I swear I don't. I just want to try and cheer you up, on you. Same here. I hope I'm not being bothered. I just thought this might cheer you up. Ayu and I were having a pretty touching moment, but I guess that'll have to be put on ice. We have company, and as far as company goes, it's pretty bombastic. Kazuo, Stefania, and Elise are all standing in the entrance to my bedroom, and they're wearing some pretty interesting outfits. They're attired in cheerleader costumes which show off a lot of their skin, the skirts pleated and their shirts cropped. Now, that's peculiar. I've seen Kazuo dress up as a cheerleader before. I've seen Cosmos dress up in all sorts of outfits, but I wouldn't put Stefania or Elise as the type to wear something so strenuous. I'm starting to have a few sneaky suspicions, and sure enough, just so you know, this wasn't my idea. I never wear an outfit like this. The skirt is way too short. This all happened because of Cosmos. Well, of course I figured as much. It's pretty obvious based on her smug, self-satisfied smile that Cosmos was the leader behind this operation. I'm not at all surprised, though I do wonder what prompted her to do this. Well, I could have told you that much myself. Ayu rolls her eyes. You didn't need to clarify that Cosmos was the mastermind here. It was obvious. Who else but her would force you into these ridiculous outfits? Is this outfit ridiculous? Stefania looks at her curiously, shifting this way and that. Perhaps my sense of fashion isn't the best, but I think this attire is rather cute. I like the colors, and the pleated skirt is very sweet. Elizabeth told me that it suited me when I tried it on and showed it to her earlier. Well, she would say that maid of yours is always singing to her praises. I'm sure you could wear a garbage bag and she still say you look adorable. Her appearance is a bit biased. Well, you might be right about that. Lizzie has always been very supportive, but I don't think that she is a liar. She said this outfit suited me, and I'm inclined to believe her. I quite like it, as makes as such a nice change from the stuffy clothes I tend to wear around the palace. The short skirt is so easy to walk around in. I think this skirt might be a little too short myself. It's showing off a bit too much. Nonsense. There's no such thing. There's nothing wrong with a cute girl wanting to show herself Elise. In fact, the world could use much more cute girls in skimpy outfits. That is the true way to usher in world peace. You say all that, but if it's true, indecent exposure laws wouldn't exist. at least tugs at the hem of her skirt, as if willing to cover at least a couple of inches more of her thighs, which of course it doesn't. It would seem that her skirt is being rather stubborn. Oh gosh, this outfit exposes so much. I can't believe I'm showing so much skin to Hiroki. He must think I'm such a dirty girl. He'll start looking at me with lustful eyes. But that might not be so bad. In fact, I think I might like that. The thought of it's making my heart flutter. Right. Ayu frowns. She does not look amused. I can't really blame her. Alice is always a lot, but she's being even more extra right now. So, why are you dressed like this? What's the big occasion? You aren't starting your own cheerleading squad, are you? Something like that, yes. I know you've been anxious lately, Ayu, because of the concert. I can tell you're worried that Shizuru will upstage you. Ha! As if I'm not worried at all about that saggy old witch, so there. Well, whatever you say. Kazuo responds to Ayu incensed anger with a small smile. Kazuo might actually act like an airhead, but she isn't complete idiot. She's pretty good at reading the room, especially when the room is being inhabited by Ayu. For a space cadet, I do sometimes think that Kazuo has her head screwed on tighter than most people give her credit for. She has to have a certain degree of business savviness if she's been able to make it to as social media star for so long. You can deny it if you want, but it's pretty obvious to anybody who knows you. Ayu, you've been acting so grumpy lately. I'm always grumpy. Grumpier than usual, I mean. You're always busy, and when you're not busy, you're in a bad mood. I figure you were getting worked up. So, I decided to round Ali and Steffi up so we can cheer you on. I actually to snitch up a couple of more cheerleader outfits for us so we can add as your unofficial cheer squad, and here we are. We've come here to tell you that you're amazing and you shouldn't worry. We've got this in the bag. Isn't that right, girls? That's right, you can do this. Ayu, you're the best. This outfit is so shameless. It doesn't just show off my legs either. It also shows off my tummy. I wonder what Hiroki is thinking. I can feel his eyes train on me. The skin is starting to prickle, and it feels so good. Hey Cosmos, is Elise meant to be cheering me up, or is she getting herself off on all sorts of weird masochistic fantasies? You'll have to forgive Ali. She gets like this sometimes. I had noticed. Good grief. For a cheerleading squad, you're not at all coordinated. You might have matching outfits, but your attitudes are all over the place. This is incredibly stupid, really. Ayu's gaze sweeps over Cosmos, Stefania, and Elise. For a moment passes. Then she smiles. But I can tell you that you did put up some genuine effort into this. I can't say I understood how your brain works, Cosmos. I think it's full of glitter and cat ear rather than neurons, but I guess it's the thoughts that count. We've been thinking about you a lot, Ayu, and nobody's been thinking about you more than Cosmos. She's always talking about how much she wants to support you. Oh, is that true? Well, I don't want to boast. I don't think I've done anything at all that special, really. Like you said, this is kind of silly, but I'm putting a lot of heart into this. I'm not just your top cheerleader, Ayu, but I'm also your very best friend in all of the world. And if anybody wants to see you succeed, I do, and I'll help. And I'm sorry, but what were we talking about again? Yo, we're trying to support Ali, silly. Ayu, silly. That's why I rope you and Steffi into this, don't you remember? What? Oh, that's right, I'm not sure if I make the best cheerleader. I find it hard to psych myself up, let alone anybody else, but I also want the best for Ayu. For you, Ayu. I believe in you. I don't know how much my support is worth, but whenever you're so much more amazing than I am, but you can do this. I know you can. Me too. You're my favorite idol for a reason. You're my best friend for a reason. I'm sure you'll knock them all dead out there. But not literally, of course. You guys. Aya looks at the three members of her cheerleader squad, her eyes wide with surprise. Then she smiles. Well, if I'm being honest with you, I was feeling a bit nervous. Ha! I knew it, but that's in the past now. If you're going to go to these lengths to support me, then I need to do my very best. Dressing up in those ridiculous outfits must be humiliating enough as it is without having me fell into the bargain. I'd like to spare you from that shame, if nothing else, so I'll keep on going. I won't give in. I'm going to prove that I'm somebody worth cheering for, though, really, please. Aya looks at least despairingly, her eyes narrowed. Cosmos and Stefani are pretty good at this, but you're dreadful. It feels more like you're trying to curse me than you're trying to support me. Are you sure you can actually want me to succeed? Elise takes a step back, tears beating her eyes. I'm sorry, I'm doing my best. Really, I am, but I'm just not as peppy as the others. I'm too self-conscious, and I'm no good at being energetic. And it's hard for me to smile, and Elise squeezes her eyes wide to comic proportions as her foot catches on the rug. She topples over backwards, her arms flailing. Her palms both go flying, fluttering through the air. The pom-poms are light, however. Elise hits the floor first, her back smacking the carpet with a thud, then a crack. Oof, now that sounds painful. It sounded painful, man. Hope she hasn't broken anything, or put a dent in the floor. Elise, oh no, Elise, are you alright? Stefani hurries over to Elise's side, banding her pom-poms, but I'm not too optimistic. It's hard to be optimistic when Elise is around. She's so gloomy, she really does seem to suck all the joy from the air around her. It's a wonder her touch isn't enough to make flower soups wilt. Maybe I was right. Elise might have been a poor choice for a cheerleader after all. I hope this isn't a bad omen. Oh dear. A little while later. I wonder what this scene's gonna pull off now. Here we go. Time continues to pass as it always does. One day becomes two, which becomes three. And soon in no time at all, the day of Aya's concert is finally upon us. And Aya has been uncharacteristically nervous in the lead up to her concert, though I can easily understand why. We can really understand this one. Very reasonable. But anyways, everyone, that is the end of today's video, everyone. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Discord server as well as social media. And I'll see you guys in the next one.